Hello and welcome to Keep On Cybertruckin, a podcast where Cybertruck owners share their experiences, talk about all things EVs and technology. We have Chase
The slow
coming up
entry is
from another world, and Will. How you guys doing?
Good.
I believe, as they say, I'm pretty glonky. Thank you.
Yeah. I still can't get over your guinea pigs in the back.
It's pretty funny.
They're capybaras, bro. They're like the dude of the animal universe, which is our universe. Never mind.
We started a little later today, which is no big deal, but we have a full chat already. Jay,
Couple big news.
We got Mark, we got Bill. Jay's laughing at Chase. It's a rise from the ashes. We have some really big news. Personally, Chase has some big news. I have some big news. Let's go.
I'll make something up just so it seems big. Be like, guys, I found a kidney. No.
Quick, sell it.
Yeah, might as well, right? So let's go ahead and get into my news, because I think mine will be probably a shorter conversation and something that I really want to get into and get off my chest, as they say. So, unfortunately, yesterday, I got the rear motor disabled alert on my Cybertruck.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I was driving. I actually went to go eat lunch when I was at work, and I stopped at a supercharger to just charge up real quick. Right before I got onto the freeway, I stopped at the red light, getting ready to make the right-hand turn, and I felt a little like jolt from the rear, and I heard like a pop. Literally thought somebody rear-ended me. That's kind of what I thought. I felt like someone, like a bumper, just like a soft little bump.
That's a failure. That's like
Yeah.
Something mechanical through it. I thought that up until this time it had been more of a voltage irregularity, something that they just needed to redo. But Jesus,
no,
it's terrifying.
You hear it. There's an audible noise to it, and then there's also a little bit of a jolt. And so I immediately didn't look in my rearview mirror because that thing sucks. I looked into the screen, and I noticed there was no one behind me. And then in that split second, then I started getting all these alerts stating that the rear motor was disabled and that my speed and power was limited. Luckily, well, not luckily, but I'm in the group chat with a bunch of guys that have Cybertrucks, and over the past maybe week and a half, there's been 4 or 5 of us that this has happened. And a guy that was in there suggested, because somebody a few days prior was complaining that it happened to them and Tesla service was out 3-4 weeks. So he was really bummed out, going, man, my truck's going to be like this for all these weeks. And somebody else suggested, don't wait, just drive it over to service center and they'll take a look at it and they'll get it in there. And so me remembering that, I didn't even go back to work. I just drove straight to the service center, walked in. Luckily, I know the service center manager, so he was there, first one that greeted me. And he asked me, what are you in here for? And I told him, and, obviously he was bummed out for me. They got me in. They gave me a loaner. And so they're working on it. Hopefully I get it back sooner than later. But that would be my suggestion. That would be my tip. Just the tip with Will is if this was to happen to you, don't make an appointment through the app. Just drive straight to your service center, or whenever you can get to your service center. Just take it straight there. Tell them that you don't feel safe with it, with only one motor working and the speed limited, and that you just need it to get in there as soon as possible and get worked on. That would be my suggestion, my tip to anybody. The whole point of our podcast is to share our experiences, as I say in the intro, and this is part of it. And, want to share that with everybody and also give them that tip of just get straight to the service center.
It's funny you bring that up at the timing, because just a few days ago too, a buddy of mine that is here in town, he's got a VIN, it's like roughly 2000, had the same thing, same motor issue. So I don't know if it's like miles related, because it seems like all of us have gotten our trucks around the same kind of time, or what. I saw you had like 13,000 miles on yours now.
I passed the 13,000 mile mark, I don't know, a week ago or so, a few days ago. And it kind of does seem around that range. It seems about that range that this is happening. And the service manager, when I walked in, he said, he goes, this is an issue. I just took in another Cybertruck yesterday for the same issue. It's a thing, so.
So you're saying, at a good segue, did I dodge a bullet?
Okay, well, let's use that as a segue. So Chase has some.
Well, actually, can I interject with one thing?
Yeah,
I would say that I do think that it's kind of cool hearing this. Okay, so having dealt with Tesla service managers, you can get guys who are very motivated, and you can get guys who are like, okay, this is something we see a lot, and we kind of know the real cause, and it's not necessarily us, but we'll take it. We'll take ownership of it for now. The fact that they were like straight up telling you that other people had been bringing in their vehicles for the same issue, I feel like it's kind of an admission of, we know it's an issue and we're taking it seriously. So that if I still had my truck and I heard that from a service manager, I'd be like, okay, at least, I'm hearing, okay, you guys know it's a deal, and we're not going to the end customer. We're like, yes, we've got an issue with it. We're going to take care of you. Just give us a moment or some time.
We saw a few months ago, people, like some influencers, were getting reached out to. They're like, hey, can you bring it in, and we're going to preemptively do this swap. So that was kind of the question. It's like, okay, is that because at first I was thinking that it was only Cyberbeast that had this issue, and we know how that conversation went. But yeah, it seems like it's interesting that it's now duals. For my buddy here in town, his also was a dual, so it's all Cybertrucks.
Yeah, and the service manager did mention, because I brought, obviously a little frustrated, and I told him, I said, if this is happening more and more, and us three kind of have our pulse on Cybertrucks, right? Given the podcast and the show and all that,
it'd be weird if this was a cooking show.
It would. Well,
lots of
butter.
That's a good one. So, but I told him, I said, why don't they issue, once again, the frustration that we have, why don't they issue like a recall of some sort, or communicate and just sit there and say, hey, we know this is happening. We're working on it. We're trying to fix it. If you run into this issue, bring it, but they don't do that. But he did mention, the service manager did mention, that would be, there's a service recall. And he said, but this is labeled as a service bulletin. And that's what he labeled, or he says that's Tesla has issued that. They've put this as a service bulletin to where it's on their radar. They're acknowledging it. Service centers are aware of it. Service centers are prepared for it. It's just a matter of, they don't want to do a recall because, like he said, recalls means every VIN within a range. That's not this case.
You get that white letter in the mail.
Yeah, and he's saying that's not the case here. It's not every VIN. It's some VINs, maybe quite a bit of VINs, but it's not every VIN. So they can't do a recall.
Well, it's probably safe to say that it's also something that is, induced, that isn't a manufacturing flaw, but it's something that fails under certain circumstances. And they're like, okay, what are the frickin' circumstances? So they're going to identify the cars individually and then know to pull those data logs and maybe see what contributed to it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I don't want them looking into that.
They're going to watch you.
Sir!
All your data.
Whoa, what are you doing?
Who goes to the Golden Rhino 4 times in a day?
So in chat, we have Bill, Mark, Jay, and they're talking a lot about Will. They're looking at your hair, Will. They're questioning whether you have the makeup. They're calling you the resident Mr. Hollywood of the group.
Oh goodness!
So you work in the biz,
as the kids would say. You have a lot of riz.
I do work in the biz. I do own my riz, but I will also admit that in the evenings, I don't know. I went to the gym earlier. I did get a healthy nap this afternoon, and this lighting is certainly trying to help me out a little bit. Being work in Hollywood, I should know how to set up a 2-point, if not a 3-point lighting setup.
Yeah, you look good.
Thank you, everybody. Gosh.
But
check out my OnlyFans.
We'll put the link down below. But so Chase alluded to the segue of, did he dodge a bullet? So
yeah,
let me pull up. Let's see. I want to pull this up real quick, just to show everybody.
And meanwhile, the chat's also got some energy. It's like, if somebody wants to donate a kidney, we got a viewer who's asking. So
I mean,
get in contact with Bad Wished on YouTube.
So right here we have Chase's Cybertruck.
Correct.
So you want to kind of take it from here, Chase?
So, long story short, we sold/traded in the Cybertruck this last weekend
For this beautiful thing. Look
for
at that
the obviously the
beautiful
Ferrari 488 Supercharger.
Ooh.
Definitely trading up. You know how it is. You know, you got to get to. Which ironically, I gotta know the. I gotta know the data because it's not the Ferrari. It's actually the faster vehicle, which is right next to it. The R1S. So the Ferrari next to that has a horsepower of 711. R1S is 835, which is just crazy. So I definitely can get to HEB and the grocery store much faster than the Ferrari, and carry the kids and everything else. So yeah, so it basically our Cybertruck ownership came to a shorter than expected close. For those who have been following along for the podcast, we've been doing basically kind of treated the Cybertruck ownership as a business decision. Ever since we saw that they tacked on 20,000 extra, 80,000, I think I would have bit the bullet and like grinded my teeth at paying that much for the truck, but I still probably would have kept it as my own vehicle. Ideally, I think I would have paid like 70, and that's kind of where that happy medium is. But yeah, we put it up on Turo. The market in Austin is getting so flooded with Cybertrucks because of the ramp up. We've gotten reports now that they're putting out 2,500 trucks a week on the factory now, so would put us well over almost 40,000 trucks out there in the wild now. So it's definitely getting oversaturated and much more than what we expected to be in the first year.
If that's true, then that meets their, because they said that the end of the first year, the end of 2024, they expected at least 125,000 a year output, and that would have they're at it if that's what they're doing.
Yep. And supposedly they can go higher, but that's maybe something we'll hear at 1010. But yeah, so and even the Turo market. So the Turo market with all the extra trucks on the road has gotten flooded. So now you could rent a truck for as low as $140 a day on Turo in Austin, which is a great deal for if someone wants to go test drive one for a day. I highly recommend it. But it just ate into the the business model that we had set in the beginning. I think our bottom dollar per day was about $300 a day to really make it viable, especially because of the risk that you're taking. Ideally, we kind of average it out about $500 a day. So, I mean, we could always get into the actual details of exactly how much we made and when at another podcast. But essentially, we were at the point where the trends were going to the point where we were going to start to lose money within the next month or two. So we basically decided to let's cut bait and try to figure out what the next vehicle is. So now we got into an R1S, which so far the kiddo loves it, the wife loves it, and we're having a good time.
So yeah, I wanted to kind of ask you. I mean, I know the answer. We've had discussions offline for the audience. Obviously, you made a business decision to sell the Cybertruck because of the Turo market and everything you just explained. But why don't you get into the reasoning for getting a Rivian, and then specifically the R1?
Yeah, so we were looking at, like, initially we actually put up the truck for a sale, like, officially about a week and a half ago. So if you follow me on socials, you probably already saw the link. And we were seeing if we could get like a retail buyer off of it. And then last week I talked to my partner and basically we're like, hey, what if we like talk to dealers and see if we could do like a trade-in deal? It might be a way to like close this deal ASAP, which is exactly what we're trying to do. And it kind of opened up the idea like, okay, what do we want to get into next? And what would be the ideal? Now, I think longer term, if I would get into another like EV truck, I think it would be more or less like I hate to say it, but the Silverado EV, as much as I hate that stupid, Avalanche sale, really ideally it would be the GMC Denali EV, which they're like brand new right now. So I don't want to pay another $100,000 for those trucks, but maybe in a year or two I could get one used for kind of the range I'm looking at. But I'm like, if we wanted to go like win-win-win, especially with my wife, of like a vehicle that I know she's going to like, because I liked the Cybertruck so much. I've had so much fun. You guys know I've jumped it and different things, but I think this is going to be a win for the other half of the marriage. And so kudos. And I think, the R1S is a perfect soccer mom vehicle. It's really one of the only EVs with a third row and space to have storage. Because I know the Model Y.
Chase, I really like that you're making it sound like you're taking the bullet here. You're just like, yeah, it's a soccer mom and EV, so gotta get that sweet Arctic white,
Yeah. I mean, it's like, gorgeous. I love it.
Be still in my heart.
It is very pretty. Like, I can't complain. Nice. I think we lucked out in that sense because we were looking at this is a 2023 with only 5,000 miles on it. We got it for just over 70. So great deal in comparison to the $100,000 Cybertruck. We got I'll be fully disclosed. We got 94,000 on the trade-in. We only
Nice.
owed 92.
There you go.
So we basically were swap 1-1 and 0 down on the Rivian. So it was basically literally showed up with the Cybertruck and left with the Rivian, and then now we're cheaper payment and much happier. So a little less stress, which I'm happy about. And then we don't have to hustle on Turo as much to keep this thing going. But in the meantime, honestly, I can't complain. A free Cybertruck for 7 months is still a free Cybertruck. So even with the added on extras like the PPF wrap, the wheels and all this stuff, literally we were net even. So it paid for itself 100%. So that's really exciting.
Those additions probably like translated into additional rentals and stuff.
It did. Honestly, I've had a few that were just like, I saw others up there, but I saw yours and I'm like, yes, that one. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. So we played our cards right.
That was my problem with my rentals was, I mean, you know, LA area saw them skyrocket just like in Austin, but I also saw a lot of Turo entries, which kind of saturated the market quickly and changed things for me, which kind of predicated my selling my truck. But I guess I wasn't thinking it out fully. And it's one of those life lessons learned where it's like, you know, I could do this as like a rental and I'm going to try and keep it stock and all that stuff. And it's like, if I had to go again and kind of read the room a little, I would probably be like, no, I mean, people are kind of looking for a bit more of an experience with this car, because I was curious about, I remember back in, you know, 2017, 2018, first time that I got a Tesla, hearing that people were basically paying off their cars by renting them on Turo.
Yeah.
And I was like, that sounds like a hell of an opportunity. It's like, if you can keeping it rented and keeping it working, in the end, you work to get a free vehicle, essentially, of whatever it is. Right. And I was like, okay, I was hoping that the Cybertruck would possibly be that route for me. And, you know, not by choosing to go stock and not trying to spruce it up a little bit, I do think that I put myself further back in the starting line, so to speak, than I should have. But also just to be clear, you know, because it's like, I know that Tesla people will accuse others of scalping it or whatever it is. It's like, yeah, we sold it used at a better or less lost or not lost than other used cars are. But I mean, I fully had a plan to keep trying to rent that vehicle and enjoy it on my own in the spare time, the entire year, if not longer. But it just, the market saturated so quickly because, so much of the gamble was around, can Tesla hit their manufacturing marks?
100%.
And that was just the unknown. And to start any business, you have a number of unknowns. That was obviously the first one on mine. So I was like, okay, so I guess it's time to sell it for me, and it's time to sell it for you. And also, I have my reservation in at Rivian since like 2023, January 2023. So my number had come up. It was like time to get my vehicle. I'm just saying, you know, it's like, it's not like we were like colluding to, you know, like, oh, you get a Rivian, I'll get a Rivian. Like, I was planning on it for a while. You were like, hell yeah, there it is. That looks hot.
I will say though, your experience
don't lie. You guys have been trying to convince me to get a Rivian for weeks now. Okay, so you got to Chase, you didn't get to me. Okay,
I will say though,
you said you liked the R2. Didn't you see the R2 one of the thing in Long Beach, the EV thing?
I have the R2 reserved.
Yeah, yeah, same.
I have a reservation for the R2, and I'll tell you right now, as soon as they open up reservations for the R3X, I'll probably put a reservation on that.
I will too. I'm really curious about that thing. That thing looks. I want to see what they have planned.
I joke, but I've said since we started the pocket, I love Rivian. I love Rivian. I love everything that they're doing. I hope their financials get better, and I think they will. But that's, you know, they're new still. You know, they're in the infancy stage.
It's a vastly different industry than it was just 10 years ago when Tesla was getting started with it. You have to embrace or challenge the culture you're entering. You have to figure out where you fit. I mean, and what is toxic if you try to use it as a trope because others have tried. You know, it's like the whole, we're on a mission to you know, save the earth. And like, that smells a little too much like what we've heard in the past. Like, give us a better reason, you know?
I will say that, like, definitely Will's opinion and kind of experience with the R1S kind of swayed. I'm like, okay, this kind of opened up the possibility, like, yeah, I think that would work. But honestly, following, even since we started the podcast and this whole year getting the Cybertruck, my opinion of Rivian has definitely shifted more for the positive over the course of the year, seeing those kind of steps that they've been making. And I think that they're really on track. Like, if you would have asked me this time last year, I probably would have been more hesitant. I probably would have like waited and be like, I don't know. Because this car was obviously significantly more expensive last year when it was bought new. But yeah, like with the VW, you know, $5 billion investment, that's a really good sign there. You know, the fact that they're Their stock is already rebounding. There's a lot of good signs that they're on their track to make this well. And honestly, like, even if the thing is that I wouldn't even, I'm probably not going to put it up on Turo, but the thought did cross my mind. I'd be like, hey, I could like just have it up there for like a price that would actually make it worth our time if we wanted to, like do a minimum of like 2 days or something, whatever. Either way, this is our car, which is different than it was with the Cybertruck. The Cybertruck, it was basically the business's truck. It wasn't like our truck. I wouldn't jump my truck, but I would jump the business's truck.
With the 2 car seats in the back.
I did do, because it was funny because my in-laws just came in this evening, and grandma was talking to my kid about, oh, remember when we did donuts and we were like going wee in the back? And so it's so much fun. And honestly, that was another thing too that actually changed my mind, because I didn't really like the R1T. I did test drive it. I did also test drive the Ford Lightning. I was impressed for different ways, but that's a whole nother question. But I really
why didn't you try the Mach-E? I hear that's great.
It's cheap too. You can get one of those for like 20 grand used now.
Yeah, there's a reason for that.
I bet. But
don't buy R1T, a Powerwall. Buy a Mach-E and just park it in the way back in the back.
Yeah, the R1T it still was small. Like, it's more nimble because it's a smaller vehicle. But if I'm going to go with a truck, I want a full size truck. Mainly just because the cab is bigger, and this being a full size SUV essentially with a 3rd row, and I have a new baby come in February. Like, this is a win-win-win for everybody. So can't be mad at it.
Yeah,
plus honestly, it's a Rivian.
And plus, it's going to be cool. Like, you're going to be in on the ground floor for the referral program. Because, I mean, I remember Tesla used to have a referral program that was like, if you refer 1, you get like a free set of wheels. You refer 2, we give you one of Elon's kids. If you refer 4 or 5,
you get
we give
Elon
you like
kids.
8 cars, like all this. Like, they used to really have incentives where people were like, I should be getting a Roadster for free or a Model S for free or whatever. So, and Rivian does not have that aggressive a referral program, but $750 per referral that can be redeemed against supercharging or the accessory shop. I mean, that's legit. That's putting your money where your mouth is. That's being like, here's the accessories, and we're literally giving you like, dollar to dollar what you get out of it. So
the supercharger network is a great point too. Like, I forget, when was it? It was sometime this year that Rivian.
It was back in March, online. I believe. Yeah,
that's a big factor that was like, okay, that's a win. Yeah, that makes it usable in my opinion. Even though there's plenty of 3rd-party chargers, and now that you can like have access and see all of them, there's a ton of them, like more than what Tesla has, even in Austin. But not all of them are fast charger. EVgo, we actually tried out recently, and that's decent. But yeah, I would definitely still use the superchargers from Tesla. Already picked up the Electron, adapter for it, so we're good to go. Literally, I have the same Tesla wall charger in the garage, so just seamless. And if anything, if we have another Tesla, we don't have to keep swapping back and forth. We just keep the same charger and then go from there. And that's needless to say, I probably would get into a Cybertruck again down the road. Like, I'm not literally saying I wouldn't.
That was going to be my question was, okay, you sold the Cybertruck, business decisions, totally get it. You got in with the Foundation series, wasn't happy about the extra $20,000, but you did it for business reasons. You now sold your Cybertruck. You wanted to unload that payment, that balance. You got into the Rivian R1S. Now, in the future, you talked about wanting to get a full size truck. Right. Are you thinking, Cybertruck again? Are you looking at? Do you have your eyes on another EV truck that's either out now or coming out that you would, buy over a Cybertruck?
Yeah, I think it would be the Cybertruck, but honestly, I think. And this is also what I'm worried about. I'm thinking that the prices after 1010 and we really start to see what's going to happen with full self-driving could sway either way pretty hard. And I'm predicting that it's going to drop pretty heavily on the used market. And that's what I was trying to get out and avoid. 1010 is one of those pivotal moments, as well as like the election could sway things too. So I was looking at 2 catalysts that I'm like, okay, let's get out before then. But yeah, I think Cybertruck at a used Cybertruck, like 2 years at like 55, I would definitely get in one again. And the thing is too, like, I'm now being a little bit more critical. Like the truck's gone, the rose covered glasses, they're off now. So I can be like, okay, let's see what I really like and what I don't like. And even comparing it directly to the R1S has been fun, at least in my head. Yeah, I can see what they're doing. Like, they're trying to go with the sleek design, minimal style, but it's still, I kind of agree with a lot of people that are like, hey, these materials feel a little cheap. and the way that they were designed. I get that, but I'm just kind of curious and optimistic to see how things hold up over time, and see where it goes from there. But yeah, I would totally love to either get into a Cybertruck or, like I said, possibly a GMC Denali. I think it really depends on how much I want to go off-roading. Because if I want to go off-roading and go jump another one, it would definitely be the Cybertruck. If I'm cool with not off-roading at all, like I would just get into a Denali. Because I think 1-to-1, it has the same capability. If anything, a nicer suite of inside stuff. Like it has the, you know, the mirror that's also a video camera, like you want, and just different
Don't
things.
Get me
like,
started, Chase.
Yeah, there's a lot of little things. There's little things that I feel like Tesla, obviously they had a huge feat. Like I think that it's something really amazing with the Cybertruck, and as far as manufacturing goes, that's the best part of it. But there's a lot of things that you can tell in the design that they either like forgot about or just ignored or missed. I think, like for example, just like a 120 outlet in the front. I think that's an easy one that they could have easily won. We talked about the wheel fairings, so we could even get into that later today too, because that kind of deals with the sale. The wheel fairings, the fact that they're like, after the fact, they're like saying in the off-road manual, hey, you should take those off before you go off-roading. So it's like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. But even if you look in the off-road manual, if you look very closely in one of the photos, you can see the wheel fairings just like hanging down because they broke it when they were shooting footage for the manual. So I feel like it was an afterthought that they had to cover themselves. It's just those things, which really just kind of like bumps along the road of like that first run of trucks.
Yep. We're the guinea pigs.
I still love the Cybertruck. I'm not going to like say no if I was given one or anything, or had to like get back into one. But I think for the right reasons. Like I also told you guys off camera.
We're not there yet, Chase. Okay, we're not getting free Cybertrucks yet.
I've never. Well, yeah, I'll tell you how in these easy steps. But yeah, I think I also told myself that I would never like buy new unless I had to, and then Cybertruck was kind of one of those exceptions. So like I always like to like buy 1 or 2 years used just to kind of like chop off the depreciation curve like right off the top and then ride it from there.
Totally get it. Totally understand.
But yeah, if you want to talk about the fairing thing, that's kind of a fun little tidbit.
Well, I mean, hey, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it.
Okay, so as you know, talk about how we jumped the truck, and we talked about how I broke one of the fairings off.
Yep.
So now when we made this decision early September, I think it was like the 1st of September around there, to pull the trigger, like, all right, let's sell, let's get everything ready. One of the things we were looking at was like, okay, we're missing a fairing still. So I went on to Tesla's app, and actually it was late August. I'm thinking about it. The closest appointment in late August was September 24th, so yesterday. And it was going to be in San Antonio. I don't know if you're aware of Austin and San Antonio, so it was like almost 2 hours away on the 24th on a Tuesday. So I was actually planning on taking the day off and all that. So I was like, was fearful of waiting that long, of missing out on a good opportunity that could come along. And it actually worked out in our favor because that Rivian had like just gotten traded in earlier in the week. So it was really like a timing. And then, so I hit up Eric and be like, hey, how much do you like your fairings? Because I know he's got a Cybertruck still. And he was like, well, when you went on the off-roading track, actually broke one of yours as well. And I'm like, well, which one? And turns out it was the opposite of what I broke. So this guy is very nice enough to ship out his usable one out to me. So I got it pretty soon, cleaned it up, cleaned all the dust off of it.
What do you mean? It was pristine.
It had some nice desert still left in it. Actually, you'd be surprised how many times I had to wash that to actually get the stuff out of there.
Yeah.
Soap was not doing it.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, then I was able to put it on. It's funny because like as I was taking the thing off, I was clearing out a bunch of dust as well that was still left when I went off-roading. So dust gets everywhere when you're going off-road. So yeah, put the new one on there. It goes as new. You never would have known any different. And it worked out really well. So now we could sell it. And then I kept my broken fairing as a nice little memento.
There you go. You put it up on the mantle.
Yeah.
Well, I think, we got into this because you're talking about dodging a bullet. And we were talking about how my Cybertruck, Hugo just got here. Hugo got here late. So he's asking what's going on. Hugo, just a quick recap. My Cybertruck, the rear motor disabled on me yesterday. So my Cybertruck is in the shop, and hopefully I get it back sooner than later. And then the other big news is Chase sold his Cybertruck and is now owner of Rivian R1S. So that's kind of the quick recap on that. But you mentioned dodging the bullet, and as a tease of the rear motor. But I think what you really dodged the bullet on was the depreciation of the Cybertruck because they are selling for very cheap now. Here's this Tesla Cybertruck I found in the Facebook Marketplace.
It's the F-150 edition.
It's in pristine condition, apparently. $10,000.
When you sent this to us, I think I was high, and I was like looking at it and be like, holy, what a wrap. That's so interesting. And then God, hang on a second.
Yeah.
But the good part about this Cybertruck is the fact that they made some modifications, as you can tell, where, as you see, it says, I'm selling my 2024 Tesla Cybertruck, a futuristic all-gas pickup with unmatched performance and durability. He lays out some of the key features for this vehicle, and the stainless steel exoskeleton, the 0 to 60 in less than 3 seconds.
I doubt that.
I mean, this thing is just so I think that's where you dodged the bullet, Chase, where you were able to sell it and make a little bit of money, as opposed to days later you're getting Cybertrucks selling for $10,000. So
totally.
For anybody that's listening and not watching, because I know some people do that in their cars or whatever, this is all a joke. There's a listing on Facebook Marketplace of what looks like a small pickup truck from the 80s that someone converted and made it look like a Cybertruck, and
it kind of looks like one of those vans in a way.
Yeah,
they just chopped off the back of it.
And so
I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I think this is AI.
Yes, it could be. It could be. I thought that too.
I think it's AI-ish, but yeah.
I
think that the chances are maybe somebody was messing around with the welding or something like that. Because I'm trying to imagine what vehicle would that have been before whatever that is happened to it. Is like an old Isuzu pickup truck or what? So like I'm trying to imagine the vehicle, and I'm like, no, there's way too much like elegant effort put into this piece of shit. There's no way this is real. AI. That's how I determine what's fake.
It's also worth noting, because some people might bring up, well, aren't you supposed to know it sealed it? What was kind of another kind of key moment that happened late August is that we talked about how they stopped putting that resale clause in the new buyer's agreements. So that was kind of a trigger to show me that, okay, Tesla's not caring about resales anymore. And even so, I tried to do my due diligence to try to do it correctly, and officially contacted Tesla and requesting that, hey, can I sell my Cybertruck? And I just ghosted. I still haven't heard back.
Well, you're lucky, because just so everybody knows, Will is actually in jail, and he's been serving time ever since he sold his Cybertruck. They locked him up. That's why he has that beautiful background, is because he's
and they give me as much as I can drink. So
they're allowing him to do the podcast from his cell. So that's
a good note too, because anecdotally, they have never done anything about anyone except for that one story that we talked about on the podcast. And it was just like, hey, we just banned you from buying Tesla again. So really, they never bothered with it.
Yeah, I really think that that was just if we have manufacturing issues that severely impact us, we're protected against somebody being like, hey, I bought the first run and now the factories are shut down, that kind of a thing. That was the scalping that they were trying to avoid happening. I don't think that it ever was about, reselling your Cybertruck too early within the year, because that would just defy everything we know about the used auto market. Like every vehicle on it always has the same depreciation curve shape, if you will. Not always the same rate, but it always goes the same way. So the idea that there's a Cybertruck that's being manufactured en masse, meaning high supply, the notion that it would somehow bottom out just seems kind of bizarre in retrospect. But I think it was something that we were all kind of like worried about, the Tesla black magic, where we're like, no, we want to be able to buy this in 3 years, maybe. Don't blacklist us, sir.
And honestly, even when we were asking, because initially we were looking for, I think our asking was around 110 to 112, which I think is a great price for what we had, because essentially it also had 12,000 miles on it. You basically take a brand new one at MSRP at 102, and then tack on 14,000 worth of upgrades that we did. You're already over what you would get out of this. So if you don't mind 12,000 miles on the EV, it was a great deal. Trade-in's a little bit different, because obviously they want to make a profit too. So I'm curious to see what they actually put it up for, buying it at 94. But I think that was kind of basically our kind of bottom dollar range was like 94, 95.
Plus, I mean, it was owned by a celebrity, so
very true. Sandy Monroe's cheeks have been in that seat, so you can't beat that.
And that seat hasn't been washed or cleaned since then. So.
I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
Wait, which cheeks are we talking about here?
The only ones that matter.
Gentlemen.
Wanted to talk about real quick some cool news. There was a Tesla Cybertruck event in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
It's the big release in Mexico for the Cybertruck, and they were doing their first deliveries. So that's pretty cool to hear, pretty cool to see. Supposedly Canada is going to have theirs here soon as well. But I think that's pretty cool that it's going out to other countries, and people are getting access to the Cybertruck to enjoy. So that's a quick thing that I wanted to share. And then also, I know one thing that we've talked about in the past was the light bar. Not sure if you guys seen this, but the light bar has some cool added features that we didn't know about. So right here, this gentleman talks about showing some pictures of the light bar, which, once again, we've talked about in the past, how sleek it looks and how integrated it looks. But the news to me is the fact that because you can't drive with them on, apparently, based off of this post, they're stating that Tesla will install the light bar onto the vehicle, but won't actually wire it, which is kind of weird. So he had to wire it himself, but then if you go down, here's some pictures of the wiring and what he was able to do. But here's the thing that I wanted to talk about was the fact that in the center console or the center screen, you can see there's some different functionality for the light bar.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just a straight light bar. You can toggle between ditch lights and the floodlight, or have all of them on at the same time. That's something that I didn't know. So that's really cool. And it's something that, I wanted to share with everybody. But we still don't know the price, right? Because they're not selling it. This is just for Cyberbeast. But I think that kind of helps with whatever that price is going to be, because for people that would want not only the floodlight, but also ditch lights, you can it's all packaged into one now, which is cool. And plus it gives you that real stealth look where traditionally ditch lights are pods that you're going to put on the front or on your hood or, somewhere that, kind of messes with the aesthetics. And so I thought this was pretty cool.
If you could scroll up a little bit, there's another thing that's interesting. So this right here is the outlets and mods page in the normal UI. So what I thought initially when we were talking about is it seemed like that from what all we could see about the light bar is that it was only going to be available in off-road mode, which also makes sense. But this kind of alludes that you could switch it on street mode as well, because essentially you're changing the roof outlet switch to now the light bar switch. So obviously you have to turn it on in the software and whatnot when you install it. But yeah, that's kind of interesting. So, but it's also negative because we initially thought that it was going to be wired into the truck and you'd still have this roof outlet as an extra added access too. So if you had, you wanted the light bar, but you also had a tent up there or something, you wanted a power feed on the roof. Now that's out of the window. It's only for the light bar. So it's definitely stuff to keep in mind. Last one, before I acknowledge the Rivian ads that are now on your page.
Oh yeah.
If you can scroll up really quick.
We went so long without acknowledging that.
Yeah. If you could scroll up really quick. I'm curious what state he's in the country.
Yeah, I don't think
it might say in his
state
bio.
Of confusion.
Up the very top.
It does say New
York. I don't know about New York, but I do know in California it is you cannot drive on the road even with them off. You have to have an opaque cover for it, which is kind of ridiculous. But I'm guessing that's why in some states they're saying they won't install them. They'll just be here's the instructions, you can do it yourself, just to be safe.
Yeah.
New York might be the same way as California. I don't know.
I assume that's what's going on here. But I thought that was just kind of cool, that the fact that there was that extra settings and toggles there. And so, because that's something that I'm going to want to do. I'm going to want to put some type of light bar and ditch lights but maybe I don't need to. I don't know.
Get all in one.
Yeah, exactly. Another thing I wanted to talk about before we get into some other news is the Vision Auto parking. So I came across, let's go ahead and get that pulled up. Came across this video, and apparently I want to go to Universal Studios as well.
Hell yeah. Second day free. I'm going to take advantage of that pretty soon.
You gotta be careful what you talk about in search, man, because it could burn you on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
you wouldn't believe what I saw after I talked about dildos last week.
I was just gonna say,
it was a
last
nightmare.
week, I mean, I got all kinds of things. But
a lot of Adam and Eve advertisements.
A lot of viral videos of dogs running around with the in people's yards. So this is a video of a gentleman that used the park assist and showing how well it works, or in some cases maybe how well it doesn't work. But in this video, and I was joking before we started the podcast, however many takes it took him to get this, but you see people walking behind the truck, you see them around on the screen right there, but it seems to do a fairly good job of parking the truck and not hitting anything, which is great news. But I do know
we look for that in cars for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, hooray! Right, we're so excited that didn't kill anybody. But Jay, our viewer Jay, sent me some images today of the park assist on his vehicle, and it didn't do a great job. I mean, it parked it where it was supposed to park, but he noted that how it kind of ran over some of the lines in the parking spot. So it's not perfect, but based on that video, it did a good job. I also wanted to bring on Steven, Fury EV, because he has some experience with the park assist. So let's go ahead and get Steven.
That's right.
Here.
If you're cool enough, you can join us. Yeah. Welcome, Fury EV.
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, it seems like Fury EV's no longer here. Oh, there he is. Perfect. Hey, Steven. Can you hear us?
I can hear you fine.
He knows how to get it working. He works in IT. He'll be like, I'll just reboot it. That's all it takes.
It's just like a dildo. You change the batteries, it starts working.
Damn right. These things are get some new dildo batteries.
You know who's going
to
be
our
first
sponsor? What if I sold him a Target dildo battery? It's just like a little
Adam and Eve is going to be a sponsor.
Yeah, I already know our first sponsor. Anyway, Steven.
Bad Dragon.
So, we wanted to bring you on here, first of all, to introduce you. I think we want to move forward and have you on weekly, and we could talk about some cool stuff. You mentioned that you have some experience with the park assist. And so I wanted to hear firsthand from somebody, because I don't have it. Chase, prior to selling his Cybertruck, didn't have it. So we don't have the opportunity to speak on it. We have to just rely on others. And so, if you want to go ahead and give us your thoughts, that'd be great.
It's like beta, in my opinion. It's kind of nerve-wracking because it always wants to back the truck up, okay? I'm like, why didn't you just pull forward? It was easy. It wants to back the truck up. It's weird seeing the steering wheel spin. I mean, it spins it fast, too. And it's like going forward, backing up, going forward, back. It's weird. It starts backing up, and then it goes back forward, and it goes back. It's nerve-wracking. So, I don't know. I thought it was going to hit the guardrail, so I hit the brakes because I don't want to jack my truck up already. And you have to go really slow for it to see the parking spots, I've noticed. So, like, when you're going to the parking spots, if you're going too fast, it won't even see them. So, you got to, like, kind of creep along, like, 1 mile an hour, and then it shows up. Somebody started walking behind my truck parking, and I didn't know if it was going to see him or not. So I hit the brakes. I said, I don't need to get sued all of a sudden. So I'm like, I always flip out people. Like, I always get these little people or people in these small cars that like pull out right in front of my Cybertruck. I said, this is a tank. Do you really want to run in front of me?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think what they're doing, honestly, guys, I think they're getting the code slowly downloaded for full self-driving. I think that's why they're doing it this way. So the next, we got the Vision, now we got the self-drive. It's basically kind of self-driving in a way by parking. So I think the next update's going to complete the code base, because I think they just couldn't dump all that code at one time on us. But that's my opinion of it.
I think you're right. Honestly, before we even got into this, I was like, I think they're probably just validating their code, because back in the day, I think with FSD making its way from just being highway autopilot and highway navigate on autopilot and all that stuff, then they did introduce and start pushing the auto park system a fair amount, and it was generally always a backing in system. It was like trying to back you in. So it would make sense if they were trying to take the Cybertruck through the same path that previously trained the FSD models on other vehicles. They're doing it the same with the Cybertruck, but they need backing in data. And apparently, I think people, by and large, hate backing into parking spaces. I love it, but apparently other people don't do it.
It's a truck thing too, which I don't think they're reasonably doing it for that.
Why would you put the bed in the most inaccessible place for a parking space? That's why it's dumb to back in. That's why it's dumb that Cybertruck would be doing it, and that's why it makes sense that it's actually validating the code, because it's, instead of having it do the intuitive thing that a truck would do, which is make its bed accessible from the lane. Instead, there has to be another reason. I think Fury EV's right. I think it's exactly why.
Or charging. You're gonna have to back into charging ports anyways.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking the first time you do it, but
I mean, your experience is what I've heard as well too. A lot of people have said, yeah, it's really slow. Like I could probably park 2 times in the same time it took to park once.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you got to drive so damn slow. Like I said, damn, it ain't working. And then it finally pops up, and I'm telling you, if you just move a little bit past the space, it just goes away. So it's, I don't know.
So the interesting, so I just put this together. I was like, so the wheel must spin so quickly because it's the steer-by-wire, where it's like literally like 90, like 115 degrees one way and then the other way. That's the maximum. So when you have the auto park on like a Model X where you don't have the steer-by-wire, you see it go like boom, boom, and then whoa, a little bit back. So I'm imagining the Cybertruck is just like, just all over the damn place.
Yeah,
it's true. It's very sensitive.
Don't put your hand near it.
I mean, when I say it's moving fast, it's moving super fast. I mean, I'm wondering if I actually got a video of it, guys. I didn't know I was going to be in the pod tonight. I actually videoed it today, pulling in the Taco Bell. I'm going to do a video tomorrow. I'm going to put my arm there and let it hit my arm and see if it stops or if it'll try to break my hand or something. But
let's see. Yeah, there you go. There's a free lawsuit.
Do me a favor. Do me a favor, Steven. Send me that video, and then when I post this, I can put that in as into the video. So that, one thing that I have a question, but then let me make this comment first. So when I had my Model 3 that had all of the full self-driving capabilities, and when they did the auto park, I noticed the same thing as what you were saying, Steven, that the fact that it does this whole, back up, go forward, to where it's like, I could have parked it 10 minutes ago. So why am I going to even use this? So I think I did it once to test it, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm never doing this again. And I just parked it after that. But the question that I have is, you said that you kept disengaging it because there was somebody behind you, and then another time where you're worried about hitting the guardrail. But my question is, do you have to re-engage it? Can you re-engage it after you hit the brake? How does that work?
Yeah, when you hit the brake, it disengage, and if you want to re-engage it, just hit the start button. Just click it again.
Okay.
But I just don't see any practical purpose for it. It's a tank, man. You really want to run over some little kid or something like that?
No.
Slice him in half.
No, and you feel it being that super hyperactive when you're using it. Jesus.
Does it parallel park as well as normal park?
I haven't tried that yet. I'm gonna try that tomorrow, and I'm gonna try to see if when it spins the wheel, I just want to see if you touch it or grab it or try to stop it, if it'll disengage or what it'll do. Because when you guys see the video, you'll be shocked how fast it spins. I mean, dude, it's spinning, and it's spinning quick.
And it's amazing that it can keep up with that much, because I know how far it's interpreting that much turn into a smaller angle, but it has to be there instantly. Like why build it to have that kind of fidelity? Jesus Christ.
Well, especially because it's steer-by-wire, they don't even need to spin the wheel. I think I don't know if it was Elon that had mentioned it, but like someone had mentioned at some point, like we could just go away with just not have the wheel spin because it's steer-by-wire.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. That was what I was wondering when I got it. And it's just a code base, man. It's just for them to get the code for full self-driving, and it's just something they can say, oh, it can do that.
Or just add more information to the stack in some way that they need, because it has to have, we need backing up data. Because I thought that was one of the things we talked about in the past that we had read about, was the full self-driving, the positioning of the cameras was translating into a bigger training issue for the neural net than they had anticipated because the cameras moved ever so slightly all around the vehicle. And you know that none of the other cars have a backup camera on the top of a liftgate as high as it is on the Cybertruck versus the other cameras. So it would make sense that they would need backup data from that vantage point. So yeah, giving everybody the parking feature probably solves that problem, at least for now.
Yeah,
or at least will encourage more people to try to back into parking space so that they can validate whatever they need.
I predict in the next 2 weeks we're going to see some videos on TikTok or somewhere that my Cybertruck auto back in and it crushed this whatever somebody's bicycle or runs into the rail guard.
Oh my god!
You know it's coming.
I mean, I think there was a lawsuit. I think. Well, actually, never mind. I'm connecting dots that aren't needed to be connected. There was a lawsuit of a woman whose kid didn't have pin to drive set up on her car, and she was walking around in front of the car, and the kid jumped in the front seat, put it in drive, and like pinned her into a wall, and she sued Tesla. Somewhere out there. Go take a look.
All right, Steven. Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your experience. I look forward to seeing those videos of the dangerous wheel spin that's going to go viral.
Mm-hmm.
And looking forward to having you on in future weeks and sharing some more information. So
nice.
Sounds good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Later.
Take care.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, so that was good information because, like I said, we don't have that experience, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing's in the shop anyway, so whatever.
It's just crazy.
Like literally,
the steering wheel's moving that fast. I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be the argument for down the road. Like, yeah, we need to get the steering wheel out of there. But like, it's just absolutely beating the shit out of the person in the front seat. Imagine the first time someone has their head too close to the goddamn bam! It's gonna send them across the cab. Oh my god.
No, what someone needs to do is put a carrot in there to see if it'll
yes, there we go. Now we're
snap
talking.
a carrot.
Or it's the fall, so pick whatever gourd you like. You know, be it a pumpkin or some other.
That's a good point. I'll save it for another week, but we could talk Halloween stuff. I had some ideas that now I can't do, but I would like to see someone do.
That's right. I remember months ago you were talking about doing some fun stuff for Halloween. Well,
yeah.
No, I got to do it. Forcing me to do it.
Send him your ideas. Like he'll do it. Yeah.
It's like $60 max on Amazon.
Okay. Ooh. Well, send me the stuff. Yeah. I'll do it in memory of your Cybertruck.
An interesting negotiation.
But we were talking about with Steven, we were talking about full self-driving, the code and all that. So wanted to share this that came online today, which is the invites for Robotaxi.
Mm-hmm.
But if we notice, it says "We Robot." Will, I mean, I want to hear your thoughts. What are you thinking? What is this alluding to?
So I was, my brain hurts sometimes. So I started counting things in this, and it's like, it's 10-10, but then you zoom in on the lens and you can read ones and zeros, but they're not symmetrical. They're not always 1 0 1 0. Some of them scatter. There's 2 zeros right next to each other in the top left. So I feel like I always think that everything is more clever than it really is, and I'm ultimately disappointed. But looking at this, I'm like, I wonder what this is supposed to mean, because it's not just it's 10-10, which is already binary. Or if you arrange it, it's 1 0 1 0. So it does make sense. But we robot. Who the fuck needs to say we robot? What is this? So
you could play on iRobot.
Well, it's definitely play on iRobot. But if you're expecting a Robotaxi event, you're imagining like Car Drive itself, or Get In for an Adventure or something like that. And it's this we robot. And so I'm like, okay, up to this point we've been like Robotaxi. We Robotaxi? No, that's not what we're saying. We're saying we robot. So there's something else to this.
100%.
I'm just autistic. So I start connecting a bunch of dots. I've been thinking about it more since last week. Now, after they showed off that one vehicle at Warner Brothers with that huge compartment in the back, and now they're saying we robot, I'm like, so this was a problem with my tinfoil hat from last week, where they're like, okay, if it's a delivery courier service, how do you get that extra, that last mile? How do you get that last bit? Because anybody can have a courier service that has a vehicle. Tesla could have a vehicle service that stops in front of the house. But how do you get it to the house? How do you deliver it to somebody who isn't home, like UPS has to, or like FedEx does. And that was kind of when I saw We Robot, I was like, I wonder if they're going to announce that the Robotaxi, the start to it's going to be this courier service where it'll be Optimus taking the package to your door.
Yeah, it's
That's it. That's the tweet.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's something there.
Yeah.
There's definitely something there. We Robot. This whole time we're talking about Robotaxi, and obviously that's autonomous, robotics type of stuff. But I don't know. I think there's going to be more to this event than just a car that's driving itself. There's something more to be unpacked there.
Yeah, I think that there's
interesting
expectations to be managed, because we know where the current state of full self-driving is. We know that social media has been buzzing for like a year now, trying to say, Tesla's ready, it's autonomous, we've achieved it, and now is kind of coming the time that they threw down the gauntlet. At first it was the August 8th thing that then got pushed to 1010. So now it's a new thing that everybody's looking forward to, and everybody's kind of, I think that everybody's at that point where like, you guys need to seriously impress us. And I'm not sure if they're ready to impress everybody with the full self-driving capability as far as your vehicle and your ability to get in, sit down, ride to work without ever engaging it, get out and done. Like you had your own personal electronic chauffeur. I don't think that they're there yet. And I think that they know that. And I think that they need to come up with clever business, smart ways to achieve it while also doing something else at the same time. Like the supercharger network was entirely built to support Tesla's vision, which was, yeah, you can drive across the damn country and only charge electric. It's possible. It was never meant to be a profit center. And now there's as many Tesla superchargers as there are other network chargers combined. It's like they've got 16,000 chargers across the country, and they're competing against 17,000 chargers, like split across 5 main companies and a few other stragglers somewhere in the middle. Tesla's got the next step to make, and I still think that there are smart people who are kind of helping them to achieve it in a way that's profitable along the way. And this may be the next thing. I mean, I may be hilarious if they're not doing couriers, but I really think that just looking at that vehicle, being like, they have the huge storage space, and now they're talking about We Robot. I'm like, what better way to show your autonomy capability, but to get people into, just package delivery capability, team up with Amazon of all people, or whoever, Temu, I don't give a, but show that they're capable of, hey, we can deliver packages to your door, we can deliver you to your destination, and then just kind of build from that. Who knows? Now this is the part where I'm actually anxious, where I'm like, God damn it, just get here and tell me what it is. So I'm looking forward to it, but I do think that it's not, I think that people are going to go into it with this expectation of, come on, we've been talking about level 5 autonomy all this time. And I don't think that they're going to have it, but I do think that they're going to have something that honestly, I know is more capable of them right now. Because Optimus can pick up a package and walk it to what it identifies as a front door, and a vehicle can drive itself from point A to roughly point B, where at least Optimus can get out and walk it to a front door. And I think that technologically is mind-blowing.
That is crazy.
That's something that if you told like 12-year-old me, yo, you'll be seeing this soon, I'd be like, nah, come on, that's ridiculous. Robot, are you kidding me? Drive? That's stupid. No, like if they start doing that, I'm just going to be like, that's phenomenal. That's a match for everything that's going in our economy right now, with so many different delivery companies that do logistics for local delivery for everything from Amazon to Temu to eBay to everything. The world of that last mile delivery is huge and very profitable. And I think because it was forged by Amazon, but now everybody has to do it. And if Tesla can do it to also help validate their software and achieve their mission of full self-driving, that is brilliant. That's another go buy Tesla stock. I'm not that guy, but I'm not a financial advisor. But when I hear that, that makes me immediately think that's actually a decent 1 to 2 year long-term play. My thoughts.
It's I think the word I would use is kind of, I don't want to say scary because it's not scary, but it's that would be very weird for me to walk outside and I open my front door for some weird, just for whatever reason, because I'm going to go in the front yard and I have an Optimus right there and it's just like, oh, here's your package. It's odd.
He may just
but
stop and be like, if you're the resident, here's your package, and just
you go.
offer it to
He
you.
scans me with his eyes or whatever.
But it's like, because I mean, you think about it. You think about all of the variables of life, and how do you break into validating your autonomy but other than using the robot you've built to do something. We've seen what the robot can do. It can walk around the room. It can fold T-shirts. It can do the stuff. We haven't heard hardly anything in the last several months of what it can do. Positive that they have the capability of marrying their autonomy software in Tesla cars over to the autonomous Optimus robot to just pick up a package and, yeah, that's the front door. Here, like that's the autonomy that I see coming for people's jobs. Like that's the most obvious one right there, is that last mile. Because I mean, I always see these Amazon guys just hustling, and you hear horror stories about what they're doing to keep up with the demand of the market. And it's
Pissing
like, it
in
makes
bottles.
sense. Yeah, man. Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like, I work in the film industry. I was in Vegas on Saturday working on a commercial for Puma, and thank God for work, in this quarter anyway. But I'm like out in the middle of the desert, and I'm like out here I am. I'm going to piss in the desert again, because it's just, kind of what you do. It's like a part of what I expect of the job. If you're driving a van all around town and they're like, you have 20 stops to do in the next hour, or else you're going to get docked for your pay or God knows what. Yeah, I'm going to piss in a bottle too. I would piss out of the side of the van as we drove. Like, be like, it's nuts.
That's a sight to see.
There was a whole bit about that. There was a guy, a YouTuber, I'm blanking on his name, in the UK that happened, where he was trying to bring to light a lot of the stuff that was going on with that, and eventually started collecting all the piss bottles that were placed at the entrance of the factory as people were coming back at the end of their shift, and then he sold it on Amazon to get back up. Yeah, I'll have to share it with you guys. It's pretty good.
That's crazy.
But yeah, you're definitely right.
I feel a little bit older every time I hear a story like that. I'm like, what's wrong with these kids?
I can never do it. My bladder can't handle that anymore. Every 30 minutes I'd be going to the restroom. So
yeah. I'm telling you, that's why you get the one with the door open. You just get on the freeway, just like, pee out the door. Just,
Like, the main story of that is that obviously Amazon doesn't care about their workers, because they literally would replace them 100% in an instant if they could be like, oh, we don't have to pay people and you can just do a robot to do everything. Yeah, here you go.
Oh yeah.
Look, I have maintained. Okay, so there's something to be said about autonomy and automation of things, and I think that it's a critical component, because everybody always evaluates things poorly when it comes to the question of should we allow automation to come. My always statement is, you know what, if it can be automated, it needs to be automated as quickly as possible, so that people have an opportunity to be as abruptly shown how what they were doing could be automated, so that they can then disperse into some other, I need to retrain for another job. I need to go find something else somewhere else. Because the slower you do it, the more you make people's lives miserable. Because I genuinely believe that everybody's always worried autonomy is going to come along, so then people are going to bottom out. And it's like, yeah, that's one side of the concern. But the other is, it's like autonomy, the fact that autonomy hasn't taken over, we have robots that can flip burgers. We have robots that can do simple things like make milkshakes. If you look at YouTube videos, they have automated the out of so many food service industry type jobs into vending machines that you just plug into the damn wall, and you can have an amazing fresh fruit milkshake blended right in front of you by an automated machine. So what is more cruel in the sense of a civilization and a society? Is it to keep people doing jobs that a robot could be doing, but they don't go for the robot because they can find humans who are more desperate that they can pay less, is the question. So I think that autonomy wise, if you're going to automate something, I'm all in favor of supporting workers, but if there's a way to automate it to then push people into being like, no, this is a bigger issue because it's going to displace more people, so we need to get training up, we need to actually take it seriously, like we don't. But instead you have automation of something like just the simple last mile of delivery. We did it with humans because that's all we had on hand. If we can do it with robotics, and somebody's going to do it as soon as they absolutely can. And in that sense, it should happen as quickly as possible, because the more you rely on people to do it, the more you hear about stories about somebody who can't function like a robot, which the job demands. So they piss in bottles and they fall asleep at the wheel, or they do any number of things. So if they can automate something like that, I'm like, fine, give it to the fucking robots. That's fine.
I just think it's funny that if it's a robotaxi and it's just literally like a robot just sitting there when there's no steering wheel, the robot's just sitting there waiting to get out to hand the package over. But I still think that the robotaxi, this vehicle, this chassis, whatever it's going to be, is still going to be like the cheap Tesla. It's going to be like, they're already making the vehicle. Why not resell it to consumers as well? Put in a steering wheel, make it steer by what? Or maybe you could just buy it as your own chauffeur. Both I could see possible.
Well, and then the last gap could always be, okay, so, if you want to partake in the Tesla Robotaxi courier service, you authorize us to let an Optimus sit in your vehicle to assist in the delivery of something that's put in the back seat of your car or the trunk or whatever, depending,
Because then they're having consumers basically afford the purchase of their fleet. Because otherwise, who's gonna buy this fleet? Or is Tesla just gonna eat the cost of creating all these vehicles, and then suddenly we have a fleet of robotaxis? That's
always been the critical question. Everybody's like, okay, so why make a quote unquote $25,000 vehicle when you're barely shaving off $10,000 in value versus a Model 3, versus just make the Model 3 the robotaxi? You already make them. You already make them in volume enough that they're sitting in parking garages. Why not make just so many and then just earmark some of them for your own purpose? So there's a lot of questions that need to get answered on 1010, which is why I will personally be tuning in that evening. But I just think that there's now become enough questions in the room to be like, okay, I think Tesla sees that it's a get off the pot moment. I feel like everybody notices that they've been selling autonomy, full self-driving or otherwise, for what will soon be a decade. At some point, you can't just prop up value on something like that without showing a plan, even at this point. But yeah,
no, 100%. It's gonna be. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very excited for this event. Beyond, I think, because they're kind of alluding to more, and so now, originally I'm going into it, and we've talked about it. It's gonna be robotaxi, and then what's gonna be that? And just wait, moment. I think this thing's gonna be jam packed with some cool stuff and innovative stuff, and I'm excited for it.
It better be. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and now they're throwing down the gauntlet. So
100%. What are we? 2 weeks away? 2 weeks away from this?
Yeah, 2.5.
We're gonna cover it. We're gonna be all over it. So
2 weeks in a day.
So yeah, we may have to do our podcast on Thursday that week.
Fuck yeah.
Just so that way we can, I don't know. We'll figure out the logistics. I'm kind of thinking maybe we do the podcast where we watch it with everybody, and we can comment as it's happening.
That would be cool. That would be super cool. If we could have it like on a fourth window and talk about it, that'd be awesome.
Exactly. And we can do that. And then once it ends, we recap the show and give our thoughts. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it'd be great.
We'll finalize all those details. But moving on, before we...
I gotta go for a second. Tell Hugo what happened up to this point again. I'll be right back.
Where's Hugo? Well, I wanted to get into the what were they thinking. It's not so much what were they thinking. It's more just an unfortunate situation here. But right here, you can see this beautifully wrapped, might I add, a Cybertruck. I'm guessing they got distracted by this Lego head that was right here in the corner. But there seems to be some type of collision because there's another vehicle over here, and this Cybertruck ran into the light pole. Even so, I feel like there should be more damage.
Yeah, the crumple zones have been proven to be fairly well designed, even in the front. Because I think that was the one of the issues that people were looking at. They're like, "There's no room for crumple zone," blah blah blah, all these other things, and like. We've seen quite a few crashes that are front end that are A, survivable, and B, like not totally severe. Like it's most likely going to total the vehicle, but I would assume you could maybe fix that, but probably easy just to total it.
Yeah, it looks like this. There was a collision with this. It looks like a BMW. you can see there's some damage to the side, the driver's side rear quarter panel. So I'm not sure exactly what happened here, but yeah, it's just I still think this Lego head has something to do with it.
It's a distraction.
Yeah, look at this guy. He's just staring at everybody. But yeah, it's unfortunate. Hopefully everybody was safe in this accident, but you know, it's just it's showing also the strength of the truck, but it also you know, things happen. So
It's wild.
yeah, I wanted to show lastly the wrap of the week before we wrap this thing up. So we're gonna do that. So this I'm in love with this wrap. I just think this is that teal, that green, that thing just pops with all the
Yeah,
black.
that's hot. That's hot. I like it.
You know, look at that.
It matches the geometry of the car. It's something we really haven't seen a whole lot. It's eye-catching without being gaudy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's nicely done.
Oh, and notice that they have the running bar too.
Yeah, they have the
yeah.
the running boards that I installed on Jay's truck, Cybertruck.
Nice.
Jay. But yeah, I like this wrap. This is
glasses?
A cool wrap. It's really well done, as Will said.
Shout out to Jay. Got the glasses. There we go.
So
yeah.
that's the winner of wrap of the week.
Whew.
So yeah, I mean that's all I got today, guys. You guys, anything else you want to touch on or comment on?
No, it's the big stuff. I have a lot of opinions about Rivian now.
Well, I would love to. I think on the next episode we could probably dive into more, because you kind of alluded to the fact that now that you no longer have the Cybertruck, you're kind of looking at it in a different light. You're looking at it being a little bit more critical of what was maybe not done as well. And so I think next episode, I think that'd be a great talking point, if you kind of giving you a little bit more time, another week under your belt with the Rivian, and kind of give us the comparison between the two. I think that'd be
totally.
So, all right, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody that was in chat. Thank you to Steven, aka Fury EV. He has a YouTube channel. His YouTube channel is Fury EV-Tech. I'll go ahead and leave that information in the description once I post this. So give him a follow. He's got Cybertruck, content over there as well. So, all right, guys. See you guys next week.
Peace. The end.
Now you're looking like Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I'm like I bought another one of these hoodies. My son wanted.